course, we'll be sending them through the emails. So the statement reads as follows. The Sacp-Cosatu-led march in support of the ANC in the forthcoming elections. That the Sacp and Cosatu will be holding a joint march on this forthcoming Saturday, 26 April 2014 in Durban. The march will be led by the national leaders of both the Sacp and Cosatu. More specifically, it will be led by the General Secretary, Comrade Blaine Zimande, as well as the Cosatu President, Comrade Ustumo Dlamini. The march, which is on the eve of the national election, will be a demonstrable practical display by the workers' formation in support of the African National Congress and its collective leadership led by President Jacob Zuma. The march by this organized formation within the alliance will be a show of confidence to the current leadership of the government led by President Zuma, which has done well, amongst others, comprehensive health policies, overall social grants regime, labor rights and working conditions, fighting corruption, including the many proclamation he had signed for investigation by the Special Investigative Unit. The approach on land reform with the new lodgement reopened and higher education access and the reopening of the FET, which are just some of them. Workers are expected to come in their numbers across all affiliates to demonstrate their unwavering support to the ANC and that they will work tirelessly to mobilize in these last few weeks for the ANC victory. The march will start at Kerrisfontein at 10 o'clock in the morning and it will end in the city center with the memorandum being handed over to the mayor of Metro. We are expecting workers from all walks of life and all affiliates of Cosatu and beyond, and members of the Sacp and the general cadres across the movement, which brings us to the end of our statement. And then the rest of the session, which will allow to be as long as you want, can now take place.
Okay, thanks Nopala for the presentation of our joint statement. Now we're giving you the opportunity to ask questions in relation to the statement as presented. It's clear that on the 26th of April, this coming Saturday, the streets of Durban will be red, and the Durban as a city will be on standstill as we will be marching. But we have heard the statement. We are giving you an opportunity to ask questions so that you get more clarity. And both comrades will respond to the questions. Noting hands, you'll be number 1, ANN. You'll be number 2. For now, let's agree that those are the hands that we have. You can shoot.
Yeah, I understand the march will be showing confidence with leadership ANC, but if you can clarify what kind of message will be sending across on the day.
Okay. I think we've captured the questions.
Okay, thank you. The message that we want to send in this march, first of all, is that contrary to the message that have been spread in the past few weeks, that the workers are starting to have a doubt in the leadership of the African National Congress and in the leadership of the current president of the government and African National Congress. The majority, a significant majority of the workers of South Africa are currently in support of the African National Congress, its leaders, and the program that have been there in the last 20 years. That will be the trust of the message that we will be sending out to that specifically the majority of workers do also have full confidence in the leadership of the current president of the African National Congress, and would like to see him completing his term. I'm sure all of you, you might have heard that there are some within the NUMSA leadership clique who are saying that the president must resign. We are saying that is not what the majority, a significant majority of the workers think. In fact, it's the complete opposite. We are saying, as the workers, we've got the full confidence of the leadership that have been provided so far by the president. Therefore, we strongly believe that he needs to continue in this in the next 5 years after the elections. In terms of the African National Congress itself as an organization, we strongly believe that the African National Congress have done what all governments in South Africa have not done, particularly for the workers and the poor. And there is no reason why we can come up now and say that we are looking for some alternative. In fact, any alternative is a no-no to what the African National Congress have done up to now. I'll hand over to my colleague, Comrade Uzet, who will add.
No, look, I think on the first question, probably both questions are almost related to one another in terms of the message and the contents of the memorandum. I think the first thing that we must say in relation to the message is that this march, by its very nature, is a march that is an initiative of both the national leadership of COSATU and the national leadership of the South African Communist Party. I think it's important to first clarify that point so that it's understood that in terms of the program, it's not a program that has been developed only by KwaZulu-Natal. It is a march and a program that enjoys the support of the national leadership of both the Communist Party and COSATU. Secondly, we look at this march not just on the basis of being a march for the sake of it. It is a demonstration and a confirmation of the resolutions that have been taken by these two formations in their separate congresses. You will recall that the National Congress of COSATU had resolved that we will continue to support the African National Congress in the upcoming elections. But also linked to that, the two organizations have also confirmed that it remains their responsibility to ensure that the left axis, which is the two left formations in the alliance, continue to ensure that there's biasness towards the working class in every initiative that has been taken. And we believe is that only the African National Congress has demonstrated over the past years that it is a committed organization to the cause of the working class and continues also to recognize and respect the independent contribution that these formations will do. And therefore the message that we'll be saying is that workers still continue to have confidence in the leadership of the African National Congress moving to these elections, and there is no other choice that workers have except the African National Congress, which is the leader of this alliance in any way. So I think the starting point also should be to recognize that the leader of the alliance is the African National Congress. I think also if you ask what are the contents of this memorandum, the first issue that we think is critical, obviously, as we have said, it's a national list, it's a national event that enjoys the endorsement of the national leadership. We can't go into details because even that memorandum on its own, it will reflect the national input of these two organizations. But I think it's critical just to say that at the center, obviously, of the message is to continue as workers to demonstrate that we still have confidence to the leadership of the African National Congress. But secondly, we continue to appeal to our people that they must go and vote on the 7th of May. And I think that's the central message, that the right to vote in South Africa is a right that all South Africans who understand progress and who were against regression, that the right to vote is a right that is a product of sacrifice, that many people have lost their lives. And therefore, as workers, we will be demonstrating the importance, particularly of the working class, to take the issue of elections quite seriously, and they treat it as such. But also to say, in doing so, as they continue to vote, they must vote for the African National Congress, which is the only option that workers have at this particular moment. So at the center of the memorandum, therefore, is to continue. But I think we must also say that surely the memorandum, as we have said before, that the memorandum, it will also be a memorandum that continue to say, as we move to the May 7 elections, the working class in general continue to have hopes and aspirations. And we will state what are the issues that we want this government of the ANC as it begins to resume its duties and operation post-May 7, that these are the issues that remain at the center to address. So it's not just about what the ANC has done, but also about what we expect the African National Congress, when it forms a new government post-7 May, we expect it to do. So those are the areas that we will continue, because to us it's not a question that simple because you've got demands, you then ignore the fact that you've got achievement that you've made. So we say in appreciation of the achievement that we've made, we also have got the expectations that this is what we can be able at the end of the day to achieve. So I think that is the answer we can give on both these questions.
Yeah, maybe we need to emphasize in terms of the content of our memorandum, which will be revealed when we deliver, that our support for the African National Congress is not a blank check. We will be saying why we are supporting the African National Congress and what we expect the African National Congress to do, particularly for the workers and the poor in the next term. So that's why we are saying that our support, it has to be emphasized that our support is not a blank check. We'll also be telling the world why we are not going to support any other formation. We will be telling the world. So I said I need to emphasize that, and that will be what will be in our memorandum that we'll deliver on Saturday.
Okay, thanks. We continue with questions or follow-ups if you have. Yes.
I mean, would you say that a march of this nature is also a direct response to calls by ruling Muslims and those who are urging people not to vote or to spoil their ballots?
Okay, let me start. I think we must, the ANC also on the other side will be launching Operation Asivote. We'll also be calling upon people to go and vote. It may not directly be a response to that, but would also like it to be a response to it.
Look, I think the first issue is that COSATU still have to engage on the matter, but I think there's too much elevation on a non-issue. Probably when people were making this statement, they were expecting something, a catchphrase of some sort. We don't believe that people in South Africa will ever listen to that. No reasonable South African will understand where we come from, and a responsible citizen can make such statements. So I don't think really, for me, those people, they're worth to think that they are so important that we can organize. And I agree with Comrade Mthembu that maybe if it happened, it's by coincidence, but I don't think we take them serious. And I don't think South Africans should even begin to take those people serious. You can't make a sacrifice and then at the end of the day, the sacrifice that you've made, you then throw to the dustbin. But I think also we must also be honest. Some people are voting, and the manner that they are voting is the manner that they are against any organization. So we don't think what they are making as a call is different. It's an opposition stance that they've taken. So they are not saying anything that the opposition has not said. There's only one thing that I think is, and the African National Congress and the components of the alliance as a whole should appreciate, is the fact that that call confirms only one thing, that any vote that is not going to the ANC is a spoiled vote. I think we must accept that. So the call that they are making clear, they say vote for the opposition or spoil your vote. In general, they say voting for the opposition and also spoiling your vote is one and the same thing to them. And I think this one thing we must appreciate, including the concession now that the Democratic Alliance is beginning to make. And we have been saying this thing to South Africans, that clearly a vote without the African National Congress is true, it's a spoiled or a vote that has been thrown in the dustbin. Just recently the DA has confirmed that they are not confident they'll make 30%, they are no longer rushing, but they are calling to South Africans to vote for them when they know they can't govern the country. So why would that call be different? We think that as workers, we have got better things to do. We don't believe in any way that those people, in particular Comrade Ronnie Carson, if he is still a comrade, we don't believe even in 2009 he did vote for the African National Congress. And I don't think we should hide it. When comrades are holding long-held grievances since 2008 and up until now, we can't make as if it's new. We should ask a question, whom did he vote for in 2009? So it's not a new call. I don't think we should create that. And I don't think, for me, when the African National Congress deploys you, you should appreciate. And when the African National Congress decides to recall what it is, it's of its own, you should then start to hold the grievance. All of us, we must appreciate that as leaders and members of this movement, it is at the mercy of the organization to be deployed. And equally, it is at the mercy. So whilst you celebrate your deployment, you must also appreciate that the deployment that you are given, I think that is the issue that we can say. But I don't think the march really is a response to them, because for us, we don't think a reasonable South African will ever take them serious. And the only people who can take them serious are people who are sharing the same views with them. And those people are nothing else is the opposition. And that opposition, it is not about improving the quality of lives of our people. It is only to ensure that, as they said, is to cut the strength or the power of the African National Congress and make sure that it doesn't achieve 60%. And we say you can't then use South Africans that they must only vote in order to undermine the power of each other. There is a lot that South Africans expect. So I can say this with confidence. workers are going to that march to endorse their confidence in the African National Congress and the leadership of the African National Congress, recognizing and respecting the independent components of the alliance. That decisions in the African National Congress, decisions in the Congress movement as a whole, including COSATU and the SACP, are taken through structures of the organization. They start from structures from below. And therefore, COSATU may have no right to tell President Zuma to sit down. Neither the ANC has got a right to tell any leader of COSATU to sit down, because those are outcomes of internal democratic processes. No leader in the ANC, nor COSATU, SACP, or any formation of the Congress movement is a hired leader. We don't hire people, we elect them. And therefore it means we go through rigorous processes of caucusing from lower structures. So we ask a question, can you then say voting for those people who never went to an interview, who never went through a hiring process, and say those individuals have got no capacity to lead? The only people who can lead are those who are hired, who have been subjected to interviews. We don't do that. People, they decide. So I think that is one part we can say in confidence. We are more confident about ours, and I don't think we are going there to talk about others. We are going there to talk about the Congress movement as a whole, and urge the South Africans, in particular the working class and the poor, to rally behind the work that has been done so far and demand more of what we think needs to be done.
Thank you. Do you still have questions? I'm checking.
We'll have
Seeming
more
to
questions
need
on
more
Saturday.
questions. You are invited to our march on Saturday, so that you are
I
able
can
to
tell you
touch.
we have a feast of news on Saturday. I can tell you that.
Yes, Nuka? We are about to close.
Yeah, the only thing that you can say that there is a transport, we have organized transport throughout KwaZulu-Natal and outside KwaZulu-Natal. There'll be transport from Gauteng, Free State, even as far as Northern Cape. We have also asked transport to descend to the province. That's all what you can say.
Maybe like how many people are expecting?
We are expecting a lot of people to come. We'll be very happy if 10,000 people turn up.
No, we're saying to me that question doesn't come. You know, if this Mthembu can answer, you know my answer on that one. Because we have never agreed how many, even when you have people around Ali Street, when others are approaching the city hall, who are always telling there were 10,000. I still have to find a scientific way that they made their counts. Because when it's others who are told it's thousands and thousands, even when they can fill a small stadium, they are told it's thousands and thousands. But when you feel when the ANC fills the FNP stadium,
And
we
an
won't,
overflow.
we won't be surprised to be told that there were 50,000 people when the capacity of the FNP is 87,000. So we have never answered that question. But just I think on the parting shot, I think the first thing that we must say is that obviously we want and expect that march to be quite successful. And we want also to appeal to say, as we continue to do so, we want to appeal that there must be maximum discipline. All those who come there, the intention should be clear, is to demonstrate our support for the vote and voting for the African National Congress, and have confidence on the outcomes of the leadership of the ANC under leadership of Comrade Jacob Zuma. But also, as we say, when we talk about those things, one of the things that we think we should also appreciate is that, as Comrade Mthembu has said, the event is not and should not be seen. All that we do as the province of KwaZulu-Natal is coordination of the event to be a successful. But this continues to be an event that will be controlled at a national level. So I think as the leadership, we will do our level best to deliver one of the best activities. And we are quite sure that workers are going to respond because they know what is in store for them. And I think that is the only issue at this stage that we can make in relation to the march itself.
So this is not the march of COSATU and SSCP of KwaZulu-Natal. This is a national march. We have only been asked to hold a press briefing to announce the march. We have been mandated by our national offices to hold this press briefing. So this is a national march, joint march of COSATU and the South African Communist Party.
Okay, I think we've come to the end, but I have one question for you. Have you applied for special votes yourselves? Because we know that on the 7th you'll be moving up and down. Yes, have you applied? If yes, you ensure that you vote correctly and vote for the African National Congress. We expect you to